Welcome to Mind Your Wedding Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. That's annoying for you guys, so we apologize. But welcome to Mind Your Wedding Business, the last episode of 2024. And I am joined by the one and only August Yoker. Did I say it right?
Oh, yeah, man, I put it in the notes for you.
I know.
Yoker like Joker.
I know, but I'm just going to make sure I say it right. So for those of you that don't know August, she works for Fantasy Sound Event Services, which is the company that I also own, and she's our brand manager. So I asked August to come join us because she gets to listen to all the episodes and does social media about them. So we were going to do a recap and kind of a highlight of our year, our first year in the podcast world of 2024. So August, welcome. Tell us, all our listeners, a little bit about yourself, since we've already annoyed them with our little blowhorns.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Kevin. I'm excited. I started with Fantasy Sound and with Kevin about 6 months ago, back in June of 2024. And that's also right around the time when both of his podcasts launched. So Mind Your Wedding Business, of course, and then Kevin's other podcast, Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married, which I do assist with that one as well. So I guess this is my second podcast I've been on / a part of. So very exciting for me to be on today. I got hired on as the social media and brand manager for Fantasy Sound Event Services, but I do help a lot with Wedding IQ, the podcasts, and our networking group, Tri-Valley Wedding Professionals. So definitely getting a lot of experience there, and it's been a fun journey. So I'm excited to sit down and talk about some insights we gained from our fellow wedding professionals this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that. But I think you should tell everyone what your real job is at Fantasy Sound.
Oh, yes, this is what Kevin refers to as my real job. And if I ever go off somewhere else and I need to put one line on my resume, it will be make fun of Kevin. That is my sole purpose. And we did a lot of that today, actually. We did a lot of making fun of Kevin.
Today.
So
yeah,
lots of content creation today. So, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
All right. Well, we're going to jump around all our episodes and just kind of talk about some top takeaways. But I think we need to start with the very first one, because I invited my sister, as you guys know, Meghan Ely, to be my very first guest. And we were kind of talking behind the scenes of the Wedding Business Pros. And like August, she did make fun of me a lot on that episode. But we also talked about a lot of kind of fun, different things on the episode, like balancing humor and professionalism. And we, the dynamic, how Meghan and I use humor to really, such as pranks, all that kind of stuff that Meghan does. At the time the episode released, I was her third favorite client. But then, and when did the episode release? You remember?
I can check really quick. Yeah.
September-ish or whatever. But anyway, at that time we did it. It was the third favorite client. But just a few weeks ago, I got a new trophy. 7 years after getting my third place trophy, I am now her second favorite client. But anyway,
it released on August 13th. So
on August 13th, I was the third. But now officially, when this releases December 31st, 2024, I am the second favorite client of Miss Meghan Ely. But also we kind of went through, because Meghan and I really, when it came to the pandemic, I was the president of IYKYK. She was the vice president. And I'll never forget, because it happened while we were in, the world shut down while we were all at Cater Source and TSC, which is a special event show. And her and I went to the food court, grabbed a pizza and sat down and planned out the first 4 webinars for IYKYK that we were going to do to help people get through the first 2 weeks. Little
You
did we
guys,
know.
you were at
Yeah,
Cater
we
Source
were
when
in. Yeah,
March you found out about COVID and
it
everything.
was
That's
before. Yeah, it was like March
overwhelming.
13th. Yeah, March 13th, March 14th. Yeah, and people were leaving Cater Source to fire employees, to lay people
Oh my
off.
gosh.
No one knew what was happening because the world was ending. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it was just kind of, and at the time, we were going to shut down for 2 weeks. So we planned 4 webinars. We're like, we'll do 2 a week and we'll help out people for the, and give them free education. And what we decided is we were going to open them up to everyone, whether you're a WIPA member or not, and just kind of do our little bit of goodwill that we could do, during the pandemic. And little did we know it was almost 65 episodes or webinars later,
Wow.
Yeah, I did 65. Yeah, we were doing state of the wedding industry where we were bringing on presidents and talking about just kind of how things were different in all different parts of the country, because we had our Seattle president, our Southern California president. I represented Northern California. We had our Utah, we had our Dallas, we had our Atlanta, and our New York. And it was really kind of interesting as we all kind of.
That's a lot of episodes. That's amazing.
Yeah, 65. And I even got to interview David Totera. That was a lot of fun as well. So
very cool. Very cool.
So we talked about that, and then we also talked about work-life balance. Like for Megan, Megan's very strict about 9 p.m. is bedtime, and she goes to bed because she's an old lady. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. But anyway,
that's wild. But I mean, that kind of is, you kind of have to set yourself on a strict schedule, especially if you are running, a large successful business. Like, you have to put those parameters in place to take care of yourself. So
well, and the biggest thing for Megan is she's got clients all over the world. So like she'll come on at 9 o'clock and she's already receiving emails from people in Europe, right? And then the East Coast is coming alive at the same time as her, and then all of a sudden, come noon with her time, the West Coast starts coming to live. So it's kind of it's really interesting when you hear her talk about it. So, but anyway, that's Miss Meghan Ely first episode, and also
it was a good episode.
And also I will have to say Megan will be the first episode of 2025. So next week, guys, she'll be on there talking about trends, and she just got fresh off the stage with her and Terica from the Wedding MBA. I think that was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
All right, where do we want to go to? I could talk about. Okay, let's go to. I'm going to jump all the way up to episode 17. So we had Julian Ribinik from Julian Ribinik Studios.
I know you said when we were preparing for this episode, this was one of the biggest takeaway you took from the podcast this year. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about it.
So we stop being tired. So the episode topic was stop being tired and become happy and energetic wedding pro. And so we talked about all the kind of different things, and a lot of it, was stress and how stressful it is, and stress fatigue, and just kind of understanding all the different things. But those of you that know me very well know that I drank iced tea from morning, noon, night until I went to bed. I drank iced tea like it was water. And after my episode with Julian, after recording the episode, I walked out and I walked to where you and Lindsay are, and I said, I'm gonna stop drinking iced tea. And Lindsay looked at me like I was crazy, because Lindsay worked here for 12 years and knows that I drink iced tea.
Hell will freeze over before that happens.
No, and literally, and I did it as crazy as cold turkey. I had a headache for 2 days, but I'm a little bit more energized than I was when I was all doped up on caffeine, and I'm actually sleeping better than I used to. So for me,
still going strong. Because do you remember when? I'm gonna try and see if I can find it when you recorded that episode, because that felt like a while ago. October 16th. So over 2 months, Kevin.
Water
with no iced tea.
Drinking water from my Yeti right here. So yeah. Well, and I won't say no iced tea, because I've had a iced tea at lunch here and there, but I'll be honest with you, I probably have drank 5 iced teas since October 16th is when we recorded it. So that's how long ago or how far back it was. But that was my biggest thing. And so, but it also, he motivated me to eat healthier, work out, so I'm going to start working out in the new year like everyone else does, and we'll see how long it lasts. But I'm determined to do it because I'm an old man falling apart, and I don't want to be an old man falling apart anymore.
Well,
So
and I kind of hate when people like put individuals down for that. Oh, the gyms are so full on January 1st. But I really feel like people just need a starting point. And it's a good
yeah,
day as any to start a new habit. And it's kind of nice that you kind of have the beginning of the year as a tracking point. So, I'm all for it. I mean, obviously it's great to start new habits anytime, October 16th, for example, but January 1st is good a time as any to start new habits. It's always
well,
good to get into that.
yeah, and I recommend, if you have not heard of Julian, I recommend you go follow him on Instagram. He is very motivating, and I would love to have him back. But it's great because him and I converse through Instagram, and he knows that I'm off the wagon, so to speak, with good old iced tea. And I've
I
actually
think
inspired. Oh, I was gonna say I inspired my friend Anne, who was just as bad as I am with the iced tea, and so Anne Ogden is also now drinking water, which I think healthy people should do.
are you looking at me with my diet Coke addiction
No,
or
no, I don't
okay.
judge. You're too young to judge.
But I was gonna say, like, how amazing of Julian to create such an impact on you in just one conversation.
I
Like,
know, right?
clearly it resonated with you enough to just, immediately start making those healthy changes in your life.
Well, and I've been drinking iced tea nonstop since I was probably about 16 years old. It was probably somewhere in
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yeah. So and I'm old as dirt. So, I mean, it's been a long time. So, anyway, yep. Just the other day, I put my little iced tea maker that I have at home up on the shelf in our pantry because I have not made iced tea at home since October 16th.
Thinking jump back down to episode 6 with
Mm,
Ashley and Megan of your Jubilee weddings.
that was a good one.
And I bring it up because I wanted to talk about this, but Ashley Allen is our first 2-time guest that you've had on Mind Your Wedding Business. So really cool that she got to come back just a couple weeks ago on the
Yep.
podcast, and now she's been on twice.
Yep. And and I've known Ashley for a long time through my years in WIPA, but it was great having her and Megan on. But they were talking about mastering wedding planning with a strong team culture and fun retreats. So they run a really cool Your Jubilee weddings down in Scottsdale, Arizona. They do weddings all over the world, but with that, primarily they're based out of the Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona area. But they have done such a good job with their team culture that they look fun on Instagram, and so I think they
They
attract
really
people that
do.
yeah, and they attract people that want to have fun at work. And one of the things they talked about was internships with, strategic talent pipeline. So they look for interns, and then they convert their interns into employees once they get them through the intern process. So, but
It's
they
really
also,
smart, actually. Really
yeah,
smart.
yep, they do a great job with that, and that's what we talked about. But also fostering team bonding, through retreats and feedback, and then we also touched on streamlining processes and future growth. So yeah, but Ashley, she came back by herself. She left Megan. I don't know why she left Megan, but she was on a rant. So, but yep, she was our first 2-time guest. So, and then my old sister will be my first 3-time or 2-time or anyway, you know what I meant.
Second
So
2-time guess.
that one. All right. So now I'm gonna jump over to episode 10, and we had
Okay.
Megan Gilligan in with the Planner's Vault, and I could have talked to her forever because we were talking managing squirrel brain, productivity hacks for ADHD entrepreneurs, which I am one, and so is Megan. And it was amazing because it was just like I felt like we could have talked about it forever, but it was just so much fun to know that one, I was not alone, and then two, to learn
Mm-hmm.
that a majority of the people that are in our wedding industry also suffer from ADHD. And it's, and we do have squirrel brain is what she calls it. And it's just
Yeah.
like, we see the next shiny little object and boom, we move on. But, so she talked about all the managing and how to handle squirrel brain, but also streamlining your schedule. She uses digital calendars and tools to help keep herself organized. And then she does a thing where she would write down at the end of the day, she cleans out her notebook that she writes in and starts fresh every day. And then she would schedule time to work on all her different things. Because if she didn't schedule it, you know, it's not going to get done, especially with us that suffer with ADHD. But also, I love this is she set quarterly goals, which I think that's really obtainable. You know, when you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
because we're always like, I want to do this, and it's big picture stuff, but setting more, little bite-sized goals, and then also focusing, having focus breaks. So, like achieving
Mhm.
yourself, you get through, a task, and you made it all the way through without stopping, and you get to get rewarded with a break with something that you really like to do. But yeah,
I like
that was.
that because it kind of makes it, a little bit more realistic for
Mhm.
industry professionals. And I'm sure even, non ADHD industry professionals could take that advice as well. Because I think in this industry, everyone kind of overloads themselves and you kind of are just working on the next big thing. So it's nice to just kind of take a step back and, be okay with things taking a little bit longer for the sake of for your health too, your mental health. Let's go to the 5th episode. That was with Philip Van
No.
Nostrand, and
Yep,
he talked
Philip's
about
amazing.
marketing methods for event professionals. The episode was called From Pancakes to Penthouses.
Mm. Yeah, Philip was great. That episode was probably one of the longest episodes that we ever
Oh,
did
yeah.
because Philip, one, he was going back to my Whipper roots again. Philip was the New York president, and I knew him long before he was a New York president when I would go to do retreats and stuff. But he's just one of the smartest guys, and he does photography all around the world because he has done a really good job of marketing himself. Because as a photographer, all he needs is his camera and himself, and he can go anywhere in the world and take photos.
It's
So,
true.
yeah, he's done. And just he talked about creativity and extravagant marketing strategies. So he kind of shared like kind of gifting gourmet meals or investing in luxury marketing tools like penthouses. He talked That was Jordan Kahn's penthouse that he talked about, but that help wedding professionals connect clients and elevate their brand. So it was kind of one of the biggest things he took away. It was a lot of fun, but also he worked on building genuine industry relationships, and which is true because he's done such a great job through all his WIPA, and all his contacts in WIPA. But he's also done a great job with like he goes to the Engage conferences, and he is such the marketer when it comes to the Engage conferences and does such a great job. And that's how he gets to travel all over the world shooting weddings because he meets all these great wedding professionals that Engage. But yeah, no, Philip, that was a really, really, really fun episode. And again, I think if I were to judge, Philip has a little bit of ADHD in him too, because we were just
Yeah.
squirrel. We're talking all over the place, and we were having a really, really great time. So,
Well, I just feel like
uh,
that means you guys are passionate. And it seems like he's kind of a natural with this kind of thing. So it's kind of the perfect career for him.
and his photography is really good. If you check out his work, yeah, I encourage you guys to go check him out. So I'm going to jump over to episode 8, if we're going to jump
Okay.
over, because we had Miss Wendy Dahl from Chic Productions, and she was talking about it's time to grow your business, or is it time to grow your business, and how
Yes.
to niche down and prepare. And I can't speak today. Thank God it's the last day of the year.
ADHD, man.
I know preparation leads to sustainable success. So we were just talking about like how she focuses a lot on multicultural weddings and destination weddings, and that's really helped her grow her wedding planning business. So she really kind of niched down, and by niching down, she was really able to grow her business. And then we got into like knowing when to scale, like key signs, that indicated it was time to grow, such as having too much free time or needing to turn down clients, like maybe that's a good time to grow. But then also we talked about building relationships and setting goals. So I'm a big believer when it comes to the wedding industry, it's all about our relationships. And I think she did a great job of telling us all about that. So it's time to grow your business, or is it time to grow your business? Hmm.
There you go. Well, I
Hmm.
think just niching down in general is just good advice for a lot of businesses. And kind of over in the, social media world where I am, that's advice you'll hear a lot from creators is a mistake that a lot of people make is going too broad, right? Like you're choosing maybe a product and or, content to make that kind of reaches too many audiences and then you're kind of reaching no one when you're trying to reach everyone. So niching down is a great way to just kind of like hone in on your one area and perfect it, and yeah, just keep doing that all over again. Oh, what about episode 14? Miss Julie Roth Novak with Party Slate.
Ooh, another one of my wonderful WIPA friends. It was Julie and I served on the board of the WIPA for a very long time together, and she's probably one of the smartest people I know in the wedding industry. She really has built such a great business there with Party Slate, and it just continues to grow and grow. But it was demystifying AI for the wedding and event industry. So it was just, we really jumped in and down a rabbit hole, and she really kind of pulled back the curtain to let us all know how she uses AI and how they're using it and how it's helping them look bigger than what they really are. I mean, they're big, but even bigger than what they are, because it's, how they're using it to save time and enhance creativity, empowering professionals and not replacing them. So she was talking about that when it came to AI's role, and then also future-proofing your business with AI. So it was a really good episode, and I feel like AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Everyone is afraid of it.
Absolutely.
Yes. And also, I would like to say, you always say please and thank you to Alexa, Siri, whoever you talk to, because when the robots do rise up and take over the world, they're going to remember us, that we're nice to them, and not the ones that are mean. So you always say
That's so
please.
funny you say that. I do that too, and it's funny. We had Lexi from Pleasanton Rentals on the other podcast, but we got into a conversation one time where I had brought that up, and I said, "Oh yeah, always say please and thank you to ChatGPT. You always want, to be so grateful for their help." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been so mean to my ChatGPT." And she's like, "I gotta go back and apologize." And now I'm like, "Yes, girl, do not mess with that. You have no idea where that is gonna go in the next 10 years. So better safe than sorry. Just say please and thank you."
Lexi will be the first to go when the computers rise up and come get us.
Miss you, girl. That sucks.
Where'd we go? Tom Chlednik. We had Tom from the Knot and Wedding Pro. So he was on there talking about making business decisions, facts over feelings. And it was basically, he came in and he could not have made it more simple than he did. It basically comes down to very simple math: is where you're spending your advertising dollars. How many leads do you need to get in order to make the money? You want to make $1 million. Well, how many leads do you need to get to make $1 million? And it was just like, and where do you need to advertise, and how many consultations do you need, and how many clients do you need to book? And it was very simple when we broke it down. It was just like, because I feel like in the wedding industry, we make decisions without the data, or without any data at all. So we really jumped into the power of data and how to use the data to make decisions. So I was really, really good. And then we also talked about adapting to Gen Z's expectations, and then the impact of automation and video marketing, it's funny. Again, Tom did a great job of impacting us. We were in the process of going to a new CRM and looking to automate some things over here at Fantasy Sound. And then the other thing with the video marketing, which I think is genius, and he says, if you're not doing it in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to be like non-existent, is when you respond to a consultation, is you send a little, on a Loom, you just record a little Loom to them. It's like, "Hey, August, excited to meet you, learn a little bit more about your wedding. Here's a little bit about us." And you send them a little video, because the client,
Really?
yeah. And it's amazing, because I didn't even think about it. But again, we are in the wedding industry. We continue to get older, but what do our clients do? Continue to stay the same age, right? So we in the wedding industry have to adapt to them. And what is our next generation of wedding clients consume the most?
Video content.
Yep, I was waiting for you.
Short
That was
form. I mean, I didn't know if you were leading up to it, if I was answering that, but no. Short form video is taking the world by storm, and I absolutely agree with that. I just never thought about it in the automation, format, but I mean, social
Well,
media, internet's here to stay, and people honestly most of the time now prefer things in a video versus, just reading.
yeah, so that was one that really stuck with me, that it's, that's one of the best things about doing this podcast is that I'm learning along with all of you. And I've been able so far to take what I'm learning from everyone and go back and implement it in my business. So I feel like every week as we go through and I meet, like we're learning and growing with that. But that's something that we're going to have to start doing. But it's like, you're going to have to do, it's going to be a little bit of work. And like in our business, I think Darcy will do a really good job with it. But just she'll respond and just be bubbly and cute and ready to help them, but make a custom video for them and send it over to them, which I
It's
think
so
is a great
sweet.
idea.
And it doesn't
Yeah,
take
but
a lot of extra time to like make that, personal impact on the client.
no. But I think it again, I don't get any leads, or I don't do this and I don't do that. And then Tom does a really great job of breaking it down by the numbers. So, and I have an email out to Tom right now. Hopefully he'll come back and give us the wedding study that the Knot does, give us some kind of update about that. I'm hoping to get him back on in the new year because Tom was a great guest. I really enjoyed interviewing him.
Yeah, this one was kind of like an interesting one. I kind of want to go back to episode 3 with Julie Smith from the Garter Girls. She talked about taking sabbaticals and workcations.
Yeah, it was crazy. So she literally closes her business for almost 3 months out of the year and spends time with. So basically, it seems like when her kids are in school, she works, and when the kids are not in school, she doesn't work. And so for her, for what she does for a living, she's able to do that. I would, well, you make fun of me for working so hard all the time, and I don't stop. And it
He does
probably would,
not stop. He's like the Energizer Bunny. Like I wish he
yeah.
would. I wish he would sit down and take a break.
But anyway, so she does a really good job of just, doing it. And she talked us through like the value of it, but then also like, what does she have to do to get ready for it? And what is it like coming back from it? But then also, she also got into automation as well. So that was the first, like when I interviewed her, I'm like, man, we got to automate a little more. We got to get a little bit better about that. And then that's, and then, the rest is history. So. Yeah, no, it was really crazy. I really enjoyed it, but good for her because, the Garter Girl, she's able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So right here, episode 11. So
Hi.
Braun, I've got to interview Braun on the WIPA world a few times. I've seen Braun speak, and he's a fabulous speaker, and he's absolutely amazing. He's the flower guy Braun, and he's now bought a rental company, and he's just blowing it up over there in Richmond, Virginia. But he talked about creating the 5-star client experience and exceeding expectations of the high need clients. So clients that are very needy, and he like wants all the needy clients, and he loved it. But he said this is something that I was just, when he said it, I was like, okay, makes perfect sense. But it's something that we all don't do very well in this industry, is the power of listening. And then also setting expectations with the clients. So it's, here's what it is, and this is when I'm going to deliver your proposal, and this is when this is going to happen, and really setting out clear expectations, but then meeting those expectations and going through it. But then that also sets up the boundary, but also gives the client that really excellent customer service. And then he said one thing he's done is he's created a couple different businesses. One of them is just for adapting for different budgets. So, he has his higher end and a lower end. So then that way he can accommodate, people with all kinds of budgets. But then the biggest thing he got into was anticipating clients' needs and creating a seamless experience for them. So the value of, anticipating their needs, the role of the client, he calls his salespeople the client concierge, and then how they elevate their communication.
Fancy.
Yeah, didn't that sound fancy? And then in the importance of seamless coordination between the clients, event partners, and just everyone on board. He made it like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm in California, and I wanted to work my next 5 weddings with him. He made it just sound like so much fun. Like they are so much fun to work with, and you can tell that they just really deliver that 5-star client experience for their clients.
That's kind of inspiring, Like I think sometimes people will sacrifice fun to deliver an experience like that. And I think it's really inspiring to see someone who can have both, right? Like you're still delivering exceptional events and still having that really fun culture for your team too.
Yeah, and he's got the great kind of fun kind of sass. I love, like, if you ever hear him speak, he's got and I love sassy. So anyway, Ron is one of my favorite speakers. I can listen to him all day talk, but he was a really fun interview, and he was so good on the podcast. So, but I think we've hit our time limit, girl. So yeah, I wish we can get in and talk about all of them, but those are some of the top that I remember. So I just want to thank everyone. You know, this has been a fun first year, 2024, with the podcast. We're looking forward to where it's going to go. I got my old lady sister with us for the very first episode of 2025. So come listen to the trends. It's the first guest that we've ever had in studio. So in studio live next to each other. We weren't on internet. So it was a lot of fun. And so looking forward to that. Looking forward to bringing a lot of great guests. Anything you're looking forward to next year? Putting you on the spot, girl.
Oh, just generally?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I think like, you know, I'm at an age in my life that's very like there's a lot of possibilities, right? I just feel like the world is my oyster right now, and I feel like I've made some good life decisions, and I'm just kind of excited to see what next year brings, because it seems very wide open, but in a very exciting way. So I'm just really looking forward to just having fun, exploring new things, trying new things, because I feel like I've been in a very adventurous mood the past few months. So I'm excited to continue that.
And I hope one of your good decisions was coming to work for Fantasy Sound.
It absolutely was, of course. That goes without saying.
and doing a podcast with Kevin. So that's gotta be a lot.
No, the podcast it's so much fun. I really love it. And I'm so glad I got to be on Mind Your Wedding Business too.
Yes, it's your very first time. So, but also we want to just thank everyone for listening. We want to just remind, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit it. You can hit it like 5 times, I think, and it'll let you subscribe. No, I'm just teasing.
As long as you're not unsubscribing.
Yeah. Just subscribe it. Just hit it once, subscribe, but also follow us on YouTube, because then you get to see our crazy New Year's Eve hats if you were on YouTube. But also email, you want to be a guest, want us to cover something, email podcast@fantasysound.com. It goes straight to August, and she'll like connect you up, and we'll get things going and going again. But Happy New Year, everyone. Look forward to
Happy New Year.
Yeah, don't blow it. Don't.
Are you sure?
Pretend you blow it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Woo.
We're blowing out people's eardrums by doing it. But anyway, but just looking forward to what the podcast is going to bring, and who I get to interview next year. I'm really excited about the possibilities. So folks, thank you for our very, very first year, and we're wrapping it up. This is it. Woohoo! Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business podcast, brought to you by Wedding IQ. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like for me to cover, or if you are in the area of your business you're struggling with, let us know. We'll be happy to help. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. Thanks again for listening.